Yeah, right, hi there. Just going to do a little mini review and give people out there a little taste of the air creation trike. That's one of the many flying machines that's on the Microsoft Flight Simulator. The thing that they all are free access machines. So, but there is a flexwing on there, what's called a flexwing or a weight shift machine, an air creation trike. So yeah, just thought I'd give a little taster session on this particular machine. So okay then, we're just going to assume at this stage actually that all our pre-flight checks have been done. Otherwise the video could be a bit too long. Like I said before, it's just to really demonstrate the trike and it's the takeoff. I'll go, well, just to brief myself now, I shall take off. I'm just lined up on this runway 22. I've got fair weather conditions on the parameters of the flight simulator. I've got nil wind set on there as well. So that's going to assist me in the fact I'm going to take off on this runway, going to climb out to about 1500 feet, and then I'm going to show the effects of controls from the outside of the trike. And then you probably get a better, especially for those who don't fly flex wings, you might get a better understanding of what's sort of happening, you know, in that sense. And then we'll just do a further turn round 180, come back and land on the runway. Yeah, so let's see how we go then. It'll be a standard takeoff. We shall line up in the centre of the runway. We'll put on full power. I've already tested the brakes, but yeah, we'll put on full power. We will roll down the runway, keeping a nice straight line. We will confirm initially, actually first, that we've got full power by just quickly looking down, glancing at our tachometer. I think the maximum RPM on this machine is sort of 6,000. It's fitted with a 2-stroke, so it's going to be sort of probably a quick takeoff, I would say, because it's a fairly light machine. I'm solo in it, so I don't think we're going to be going too far before we can sort of unpin the machine from the tarmac, as they say. So yeah, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to have the nose slightly down. I'm going to check, as in checking the nose after the takeoff. I'm going to have full power on still, but I'm just going to maintain forward momentum, and that's just in case we need to land ahead, because when we take off, we're always ready in the first couple of hundred feet at least to wherever we can, and should we have an engine failure, we need to land ahead, then we can do that if we're not at a too high attitude pitched up, because the famous saying always to remember is what goes up fast comes down fast, and that's the truth. Okay, anyway, right, enough said. We'll give it a whirl. Let's see what happens. Right, oh, I better show you just, actually incidentally, let's just have a quick look at the views that you get on the sim. And so yeah, we have a virtual cockpit view that's there, and we also have an outside view of the airplane which we can pan round on should we need to or want to. In fact, while I'm there, I can actually show you on the ground the weight shift control that we have on this aircraft. So we have a pitch, which is bar forward, bar back, and then we have a roll, which is the bar to one side, the bar to the other side, like this. So yeah, so if we want to pitch the aircraft up, we push the bar out like this, and if we want to pitch the aircraft down, then we pull the bar towards us like this. And if we want to turn the aircraft to the right, we roll the wing to the right by pushing the control bar over to the left. Okay, and then likewise to turn to the left, we put the control bar over to the right. So if you can see what's happening there, we're essentially transferring our weight from the centre of the wing. If you think of a pendulum going straight down through the pilot, I'm altering my weight below the wing, and then that's where our control dynamics will be affected on this type of machine. But anyway, I can show you a bit more on that when we're airborne. Okay, and what else do we have? We have a tower view. That's the view from the control tower. That's what they see. That's me lined up there, look, ready for taking off. And also we have like a chase cam view to the rear of the aircraft. But you can fly in all these modes, apart from the tower mode of course. So that's quite interesting. And so back into the cockpit then, and we'll take off, and I'll try and dictate the flight, and yeah, see what sort of happens, and basically see what you think of the system really. I think if I was asked, does it fly accurately, then yeah, being a sort of, you know, a weight shift pilot, I would say that the immersion is fairly real. Only thing lacking, of course, would be the back pressure, the back pressure or forward pressure that you'd feel on the bar. That's obviously not there because it's a simulator, but everything else, yeah, it's pretty darn good, as they say. But anyway, here we go then. So as I said, we're going to go full power then. Confirm we've got full power on the tacker, which we have. Nice straight line down the runway. Looking at our airspeed indicator, 46, 49. Wow, that's going up quick. 50 miles an hour. We'll just ease the bar forward, ask the machine to take off. At this stage, we're just going to track along the runway, keeping our forward momentum, checking the nose, keeping the attitude sort of fairly low. Because like I said before, should the engine fail now, in fact I can demonstrate that. If the engine fails now, look, we can go outside the aircraft. We've got enough airspeed on board to simply, whoops, land the aircraft safely. Okay, that's demonstrated that. So back in the cockpit there, and I've got enough runway left. Yes! A little bit naughty there, but we'll, right, we'll get airborne again, and now I've demonstrated that one. And you can see why we do that. So we'll take off again, we'll keep the nose attitude lower than you would in the climb, just to make sure everything's good. Engine T's and P's, all good. Engine sounding nice, everything's fairly stable, so we can then push the bar out and attain our best rate of climb. And that's not necessarily the best angle of climb. At the moment we're looking for the best rate of climb, which I'm not sure of the figures exactly on this machine, but I would say there's 56 knots on there, probably, yeah. Hot summer's day, yeah, solo pilot, I would say that's about right. The attitude certainly looks okay, the picture's about right anyway. So at this stage then, we just concentrate on keeping straight and level. Our wings are nice and straight and level, and we're sort of tracking fairly much correctly there, heading westerly. We'll have a look outside the machine actually. So there we are, yeah. So that's the air creation on the Microsoft Flight Sim weight shift machine, Microlight, flying in full power climb out, nice and stable and straight. Whoops, get back in the cockpit. Right, it's 2,000 feet, that's a little bit higher than I thought I wanted to be, that doesn't matter. So we'll stop the climb then now. So we always stop the climb initially without attitude, so we pull the bar back in, let the speed just build up slightly, then bring the power back for level flight. And let's, once again, I'm looking at the tacho there, about 4,000 RPM. Typical on a two-stroke, it's quite hard to just initially get the throttle set right, because they either want to idle too low or scream too high. So but anyway, we'll call that we'll call that straight and level. Now getting back to the controls then, I said to turn right in a weight shift aircraft, we push the bar over to the left, and this induces a roll, which then induces a side slip, which then induces a turn, like that. So we just have a shallow turn initially, probably a 30 degree, nothing more than a 30-degree bank. That would be kind of, from the cockpit point of view, that'd be sort of wingtips on the horizon. Same again to turn left, then we push the bar over to the right, we roll to the left, and we slip to the left, and then we turn to the left. Okay, back to level flight then. One other thing to point out, if you don't know much about flex wings, is we see have a front strut at the front, and if that makes a perfect sort of artificial horizon gauge. If we look at the real horizon there, and our our front strut is sort of vertical in our line of view, then we're pretty much flying straight. You know, obviously we can also look at our wingtips, look and make sure they're sort of equidistant from the, whoops, should just take the side out of the cockpit, but you get the idea. We can make sure they're sort of equidistant from the ground as well. But yeah, so if we go outside the aircraft then, let's have a look. Have I deviated from the heading much? I think I have, haven't I? Not to worry, we'll find the runway in a moment. Okay, so if I go outside the aircraft then, we can probably demonstrate these effects of control a little bit better, and you can sort of see what's going on. I think that'd be quite interesting. So to pitch the nose down, then we pull the bar in. There we go. And obviously in this configuration our airspeed will be increasing as the gravity meter, the Newton meter I call it, goes into overload, because we're gaining more airspeed, aren't we, like that. So we're back to level flight then. And then to pitch the airplane up, we simply push the bar forward, and initially we will get a slight pitch up, but of course without airspeed and without the power setting, that's not going to last too long, because effectively what we're going to do is we're going to end up in the stall. I can probably demonstrate that, but anyway. So anyway, the turn. So if we look at the turn then, so to turn to the right, remember it's the bar over to the left like this. Look, there's the roll, there's the slip, there's the turn, back level. Turning to the left then, so bar over to the right, there's the roll, there's the slip, and there's the turn. And incidentally, of course, if we want to do a descending turn, it's just the same thing, but we pitch down and then roll whichever way we want to go, like that. And then the climbing turn, providing we've got enough, we put the power on, we just pitch up and do the same thing again. We turn either to the right or to the left. Anyway, okay, that's that. In fact, so that's that. Let me go back to level flight, get back inside the cockpit, and I can show you a stall. Basically, what happens on a flexwing microlight is we get not so much of a stall, but we'll encounter sort of slow flight characteristics, whereas in the controls will become a little bit heavier, a lot less responsive, and she will just really have a bit of mush at the nose. I could probably explain that a lot more, but if anyone's interested, they could just research that, because basically because of the shape of the wing, basically it's quite a clever bit of kit. It looks like a kite, but there's a lot going on with a flex wing. What always amazes me is that dinosaurs were doing this millions of years ago. It's quite incredible, isn't it? But there you go. That's the David Attenborough bit out of the way. Okay, so let's demonstrate the stall. Anyway, back to the effects of control. So if we come off the power, and if we hold the attitude, this airspeed's going to start to decay. Okay, now if we just pitch up a little bit more than we should, there's the slow flight characteristics. Nothing's happening, look, on the bar, nothing, not rolling or anything. In fact, she's not really stalling either, which is a bit unusual. But yeah, generally you do. It's just a mush stall. I think, let me just have a look at something else. We can initiate a more severe stall by sort of not whipping it, but by climbing, by getting our airspeed, putting it into the climb and then dropping power. Now what will happen is the nose will sort of drop down, look, as the airspeed runs out, because unfortunately the trike's not clever enough to keep climbing. It doesn't know, the nose will stay up there, it doesn't know there's no power behind it, and the first thing it's going to do is look is just like most other aircrafts. First thing it's going to do is look for airspeed. Like I said, the Isaac Newton meter, I call it, is always there, hiding behind the cockpit, and you can guarantee, should your engine fail or anything else happens, that the Newton meter is going to save you every time, because we're going to go nose down, the plane's going to build up its airspeed again and be happy. There we go. Right then, so back to level flight. And then what we're going to do now, like I said, we're going to just roll to the right, and we're going to look, that's a nice lake, we're going to just look for our runway. There it is, on the nose. Can you just see that there? Let's just get that on the nose. Right, there's the runway then, that's the airfield we took off on. So like I said, I'm just doing a reciprocal now. We're going to fly back to the airfield, line up with the runway, and then we'll talk you through how you land a flexwing microlight, which of course is no different to landing any other flying machine really. Well, certainly anything that has airflow, has wings with an airflow going over them. Yeah, it's exactly the same. People do get a little bit confused. I think someone converting from 3-axis to a microlight has I think I'm right in saying they have a harder job getting the head around things than they probably would if I went from a weight shift to 3-axis, but I don't know how true that is. I think essentially, yeah, they're both flying through the air, but the effects of control, well, not the effects of control, but the way I look at it is the controls are coming in a different formula to you, and once you've got your head around that, then yes, it's the same machine flying through the air doing the same things. Okay, anyway, right then, so what have we got with 3,000? We're actually climbing it, aren't we? Let's bring a bit of power off, because we don't need all that height. Right, we won't bother doing all the inbound checks, like I said, because there's no point just doing that at the moment. I just want to give people really a taste of the simulator. So we're going to pretend that those are all done. I'm not even doing a circuit, I suppose this could be noted down as doing a long final in this machine anyway, for sure. In other words, I'm not doing any sort of, I've not joined crosswind, I've not done overhead, I've not joined crosswind, I've not done a downwind leg, I've not done a base leg. We're just simply going to set up on a long finals, and then, which I think on the simulator, to be honest, is if you're new to simulators and new to flying, then yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, because, you know, there's a lot going on in the circuit, and if you're new to it all and you just really want to use it even as a game, I suppose you wouldn't be doing all that anyway. But if you're serious about it, then yeah, don't just learn to land the thing, and giving yourself more time is what it's all about. Definitely. Right, so anyway, runway centre line then. So let's get this from this sort of distance. We're happy to have the runway somewhere on the nose at this stage. Once we get a bit nearer, we will start making finer manoeuvres to keep that runway centre line, as they say, down the split of your bum. That's what they say. It's probably quite right. Right, so I'm very high, aren't I? So what I can do here, there's no trim tabs or flaps or anything on a weight shift microlight. We just really set a glide up. So I'm going to come off power because I've got plenty of height. So I'm now what you call in a trim descent, i.e. no power. And if we look at the airspeed indicator, 43 knots, nominal lands off trim, I would have thought would be about 60. So, and yeah, there we go. So we're coming down to the runway then. Just like in most other airplanes, from this point I will have pitch for my airspeed like that, and I will still have, with airspeed, look, I've still got roll, so I've still got full control of this aircraft. And if I've got the hand on the throttle, well, in reality it's on your foot throttle, you exchange to a foot throttle on the flexwing microlight. But that's for argument's sake, I've got my hand on the throttle, should I need it. If I was undershooting slightly here, then I would just pop a little bit of throttle in there just to get me to the runway, but this is looking good. I'm aiming for about a third of the way in. So let's have a look then. We've got 63 miles an hour. 63 miles an hour, that's quite a healthy descent rate in a machine like this. So yeah, we're well in, no problems, no panics. The runway is very long, I can take my time. And remember, we're coming in not to land, we're just coming into rounder out, we're coming into floats, and then if everything's good, we're going to let the airplane touch down. At any time something's not quite comfortable, then we shall hit the loud pedal, full throttle, and go around. So there we go then, runway centre line then. Looking at the end of the runway now, because I'm just going to round her out to the transition into the float, and then what we're going to do is ease the bar forward, ease the bar forward, ease the bar forward, and we're essentially just stalling that aircraft onto the runway. There we go, how's that? So nice smooth manoeuvres, no fancy tricks, just let the machine settle onto the tarmac. Like I said before, we're coming in not to let it land really, so we're doing everything in that last bit of, in the last stage, once we've got into the transition where we're in the float, we're flying to what we see and we're doing everything really with that bar not to let the machine touch down. And obviously the law of physics in the end says we'll win and we will touch down. We will actually stall, but at that point we're going to be sort of a couple of inches from the runway, and it's going to be a beautiful greaser, I think they call it. It's just going to, everything's going to be nice. Anyway, so there we go. Yeah, I like it. I think that's fine. We'll just stop there actually. Of course, in reality, we would be vacating the active runway, but it's a simulator, so I think we can get away with just sitting there for a moment, just while we summarise. So there we have it. I hope that's been of interest. Sort of give you a little taste, really, of flexwing flying. Like I said, quick disclaimer: I'm not an instructor. That was in no way intended to be an instructional video of how to fly one. But yeah, probably a lot of people out there saying it's not very good flying. I don't know, but yeah, it's really just it's purely for sharing with friends. It's purely for interest, and it's really, we're just saying, you know, is the simulator anything like real flight? And I think, yeah, I think it's pretty close. It's pretty close, yeah. As a training aid, I'm not sure. I think, yeah, why not? I mean, you could probably use it. Not so much on the flexwing, like I said before, because I'm flying it on a stick, so that would be a ridiculous way to start learning how to fly flexwings, by using a joystick. You just wouldn't do that. But yeah, anyway, all good stuff. So let me know what you think. Is it for you? And that's it. Captain Robbie's signing off, and yeah, we'll see you later. Okay, take care. Okay, bye.